Okay, let's talk about the rapidly growing rift between former Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders and his own supporters. The same Bernie supporters who have praised Bernie for saying he's been saying the same thing for 40 years. He's consistent. He doesn't sell out. He always tells you what you think. He doesn't bow to corporate interests. He doesn't bow to party politics, all of this stuff. A lot of Bernie supporters are now saying he sold out by saying support Biden. He sold out. He's nearly 80 years old. What exactly does selling out mean for Bernie Sanders at this point in time? What is he trying to position himself for by selling out? Bernie said yesterday that it would be irresponsible for his supporters not to vote for Joe Biden in November. And a ton of Bernie supporters are absolutely furious. For some reason, they're tweeting at me on Twitter. I don't know why that's going on, but it is. This is all from an interview that Bernie did with the Associated Press, and it is getting very ugly. Bernie was asked about the choice that his supporters now have to make. And Bernie Sanders said, quote, "Do we be as active as we can in electing Joe Biden and doing everything we can to move Joe and his campaign in a more progressive direction? Or do we choose to sit it out and allow the most dangerous president in modern American history to get reelected?" I believe that it's irresponsible for anybody to say, well, I disagree with Joe Biden, and therefore I'm not going to be involved. Bernie says that this is it. Bernie says it's Joe Biden time. He says, despite technically still being on future primary ballots, Bernie will not be advertising. He won't be running ads. He won't be spending money, and that he is all in for Joe Biden and that it would be irresponsible for his supporters not to be. So if you are a Bernie supporter, I'm trying to figure out how you square praising Bernie for never selling out, always speaking his mind, always being genuine for 40 years. And then now at 78 years of age, Bernie has become disingenuous and a tool of the Democratic Party. If that's really what you believe about Bernie Sanders right now, it's very hard to imagine you had the right assessment of him all along. I believe the simpler explanation is Bernie just gets it. Bernie, much like Noam Chomsky, understand the importance of removing Donald Trump. Now, another source of controversy from the same interview with the Associated Press is that Bernie is being accused by some of attacking his own supporters because he sort of distanced himself from a woman named Brianna Joy Gray, who was his press secretary at one point in time. She posted on Twitter, quote, "With the utmost respect for Bernie Sanders, who is an incredible human being and a genuine inspiration, I don't endorse Joe Biden. I supported Bernie because he backed ideas like Medicare for all, canceling all student debt, and a wealth tax. Biden supports none of those." To me, this is just the epitome of a misguided comment because, okay, Biden's not for Medicare for all, but he wants to expand it to 60 plus, which would give it to 20 million more people. Trump wants to kick 32 million people off of health insurance. Joe Biden just put out a plan for partial cancellation of some student debt. Trump, now is being forced into suspending some payments because of coronavirus, but Biden's better than Trump on that. On the wealth tax, okay, Biden doesn't support Warren or Bernie's wealth tax, but Biden's tax plan and capital gains taxing plan is way better than Donald Trump. So to me, this is, missing the forest for the trees. But in any case, Bernie was asked about the comments from Brianna Joy Gray, and he did a sort of Brianna who kind of thing, telling the Associated Press simply, "She is my former press secretary, not on the payroll," which is kind of a funny cop-out because Bernie's campaign confirmed no one's on the payroll. Like, in other words, the campaign is over. And this reaction from Bernie about Brianna is throwing a lot of people into total disarray on Twitter. Some people are saying Bernie is attacking his supporters by saying this. So once again, my goal going forward is I don't want to split the left into factions. I want to just bring the left together to defeat Donald Trump. All of the woke Twitter stuff is dividing the left, and it helps Trump. So first of all, my hope and instinct is that the very loud Twitter, Reddit, online Bernie Biden stuff is overblown, and that while it's very divisive on the internet, I'm hoping it's not that divisive in the real world. If the primary taught us one thing, it's that the loud Bernie wing is very loud online, but it didn't translate to that many voters. Joe Biden is ahead of Bernie by nearly 3 million votes right now. And so in the same way, just because a group is louder on Twitter doesn't mean there are necessarily that many of them. My hope is that outside of this Twitter area, there is not really that much division among the left, and it's clear that we need to vote to remove Donald Trump. But what's going on here is simply that a lot of people are just struggling with it. Bernie realizes Trump is an existential threat to the world, and his handling of coronavirus has proven that even more acutely. In practice, you're either helping Trump's proto-fascist, authoritarian baby dictatorship, or you're working against it. It is true that if you don't vote, you're not voting. That's not literally a vote for Trump. This idea of not voting is a vote for Trump. No, it's not literally true. But we've got to be adults. By staying home because you voted Bernie and you won't vote Biden, you are furthering Trump's proto-fascist authoritarian reelection. If you're not activating against it, you are essentially one more vote for allowing it. And I can't do that. There's no neutrality here. Now, maybe you feel okay about having that role because you're an accelerationist and you believe another 4 years of Trump will more quickly destroy the system and lead to it being rebuilt in a better sort of framework. Okay, that's fine. Let's just call things what they are, though. Bernie is acting sensibly and normally here. If you believe Bernie has been genuine for the last 40 years, to say now in April of 2020, Bernie has become disingenuous doesn't make sense. We've got 6.5 months to fight Trump until we either get 4 more years of it or we get something better. Bernie's keeping his eye on the ball. That's a good thing. You would think that the trust he has built with his supporters would have them saying, you know, Bernie's probably right, rather than Bernie has sold out to the DNC, which you don't believe he's done for 40 years. Why would he do it now? Let's think critically, guys. I've got something really cool today. The first 500 people who see this video and go to davidpakman.com/skill will get a premium membership to Skillshare for 2 months for free. Skillshare is the online learning community offering thousands of classes on almost anything you can imagine. Everything's taught by experts. The classes get split up into bite-sized lessons. So even if you're really busy like me, you can fit Skillshare into your schedule. There are classes on drawing, painting, photography, video editing, web design, running a small business, and that's not even scratching the surface. I got some great ideas from a recent class I took called YouTube Success. And even though we've been on YouTube for years, I still got a lot out of it. They have classes for every skill level, whether you want to get better at something you're already experienced in or you want to explore something totally new. And like I said, the first 500 people who see this video and go to davidpakman.com/skill will get a completely free premium membership for 2 months, giving you access to every class Skillshare offers. Check it out. I put the link right underneath this video.